Hello, and welcome to Breathe California, the Bay Area's Environmental Affairs. My name is Julia Barba, and I am Health Programs Coordinator at Breathe California of the Bay Area. Since its inception over 100 years, Breathe California of the Bay Area has been serving hundreds and thousands of the community in Santa Clara County, Alameda County, and San Benito County. Today, I have the exciting opportunity to be with Maya Briones to talk about her participation at San Jose State, events that she's coordinating and getting ready for Earth Day. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct, Julia.
Yeah. Okay. Can you mind introducing, talk a little bit about yourself and what brings you here today?
Sure. So I'm a senior environmental studies student at San Jose State University, and I've been involved with the ERC both as a student and as a director for a full year. Starting out as a student, just joining the class to get involved in the environmental studies program. It's a great way to, it's a very different class. Great way to meet some fellow classmates and get involved with projects around the city. And then being a director, this is my second semester being a director. And as you said, we have a lot of events we're going to be organizing for this spring semester.
Awesome. So for our audience who's not familiar with the ERC, can you explain what that is and
Sure.
what they do there?
Yeah, so the ERC, or the Environmental Resource Center, was founded at San Jose State University in 1967. So we had a San Jose State alumni named Gaylord Nelson. He's the one that actually founded Earth Day on April 22nd. And after he found Earth Day, the ERC was developed. And since then, ERC students have been leading environmental changes on campus, such as creating the campus site recycling program. We created a Department of Associated Students called Transportation Solutions that gives students information about alternative transportation instead of taking cars. They offer a free U-Lock exchange to lock up your bike, a clipper card from the VTA to take the light rail, and maps to show you different routes that you can take without taking cars. The ERC has also done things throughout the city like Create Vegilution on the east side of San Jose. And so ERC students every year take on different sustainability projects, either on campus or off campus.
Wow, that is a lot of good work that you're doing in the community.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit more, like you said, you were interested and you're taking environmental studies classes, and how does that relate to the activities and the programmings that you're doing at ERC? How did your interest and your major kind of combined with that?
So the ERC it's run by students actually. So as a director, we teach the class, the three directors, including myself. We have a faculty advisor who helps us with some logistics, but it is run by students for students. And so students' interests shape the class every year. For example, my year that I was a student, I was interested in environmental justice projects, and we created a different project to work on environmental justice in San Jose and do research. Other students are interested in food miles, so they've in past have done projects regarding food miles or food access in the area. We have water projects, talk about tapped water versus bottled water and the effects of plastic waste in our oceans or in landfills. We also have one called Ride to School Day, which promotes alternative transportations, and they work with associated students to promote that. And so it really depends on the interest of each class to create different campaigns and projects.
Okay, wonderful. So you're seeing that all the students' interests in their realities, what they're seeing in the community, is actually taking place with guidance, mentorship from you guys as the director, from faculty, and working together to create these community-based programs.
Yes, exactly. And it's our job as directors to just help our fellow students learn to become leaders. That's really what the class is about, is to gain leadership skills, experience, and also kind of network. So we take what we learn in our other environmental studies courses and kind of focus our interest on something to actually do, something tangible.
Okay. And what is the current project this semester or this year?
So we have a small class this year. We're still doing the Ride to School Day project and the Take Back the Tap, which is the bottled water project. And then those are our only two individual projects for students. And then the big one that all students are working on is our Earth Day project.
Okay. And so tell me a little bit more about Earth Day.
So Earth Day, like I said, was founded by Gaylord Nelson in 1967. It's It's on April 22nd, and San Jose State always holds a celebration for Earth Day that the ERC puts on for the campus. And so it's a really big event. We invite vendors from all over the area. We try to promote mostly local vendors, or if they're going to do food or anything like that, all organic materials, environmental groups, restoration groups. And so we as directors work on inviting all of those people, and then the students work on putting on workshops, organizing educational opportunities for the people that come. It's open to the public, so citizens of San Jose can come, students are welcome, and we work on it together, and then throughout the day students volunteer and then either lead workshops or help organize, facilitate shifts or anything like that.
Yeah, well, wonderful. So this is all really exciting, and I want to dig deeper into it. But before we do that, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and I invite you to keep joining us today, and we'll return in a few minutes.
My name is Rene Montez. I've been using the CPAP machine, I would guess, 10 years. I got so accustomed to it, I don't go anywhere without it. I take it with me everywhere. From the moment I put it on, I thought it was the greatest thing because the breathing was a lot easier, and after using it for a couple nights, I felt a lot of energy. Breathe California is fabulous.
Thank you, and welcome back to Environmental Affairs. And we're here talking with our guest, Maya Briones, from the ERC at San Jose State University. And we were just learning about the upcoming Earth Day taking place on April 20th. And so you were talking a little bit about there's different workshops, and there's going to be vendors available for students, for the whole community to come through and enjoy. What kind of workshops are going to take place, and what can people really see and participate in at the event conference day?
So not everything is confirmed yet. We're still working on building the workshops, though I can tell you what we've had in the past. In the past, we've had gardening workshops where students will get on stage and invite some people from the audience to come and learn how to plant create a self-watering planter out of a water bottle, or learn how to compost materials. A lot of people, it's really engaging. People like that. You can take it home and then do it at your house. We have workshops regarding bike maintenance or car maintenance, how to drive safer and emit as minimal fuels as possible. We have workshops regarding recycling or trash. So the workshops, again, since it is student-based, will depend on the student's interests. We also have actually a lot of student groups from different classes who are going to be tabling at the event, so they'll be teaching the guests about their project for the semester, so that'll all vary. We also have a cool panel at the very end that's going to be talking about environmental justice and kind of the current political climates in terms of environmentalism, and that's going to be at the end of the day. The event is from 10 to 2:30, and so that panel is open for the public to come in, and it's going to facilitate discussion and kind of analyze some environmental justice issues that are happening locally, and then as well as analyze the political climate of environmental issues.
For coming up in the future now. So can you tell our audience a little bit more about what is environmental justice, and how can we look at that? Maybe people who aren't familiar with some of these key terms or environmentalism.
So environmental justice, or really injustice, it talks about communities that are marginalized, or so low-income communities. It could be communities of color. We can even look at ecofeminism, which is looking at women's roles in the environment. And these groups tend to face environmental issues first. They tend to, because of either being low income or marginalized away from the rest of the city, or because they don't have a voice in politics. So examples are communities that are built next to dumps or power plants. Communities could even be communities on the coast, as we saw with Hurricane Katrina. That was a low-income, predominantly African-American community that was predominantly faced the brunt of that issue. So it could be from natural disasters, or it can become just social issues. It's Yeah, it's social justice,
Yeah.
but focused on environmental issues,
Mm-hmm.
and who are the first people to face environmental issues.
That come in contact with that community, with those
Yeah.
areas, with your home, with your work
Mhm.
environment, and everything that's
Yeah.
in between.
You can look at the
Mhm.
Flint water crisis as well,
Mm-hmm.
low-income community, and it took a long time for them to get clean water. And
Mhm.
everybody should have clean water, but sometimes in the political realm, it doesn't work out
Mhm.
that way, and not everyone's given the same opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
Communities that are next to freeways face much more air pollution, and so
Mhm.
poor air quality
Yeah.
than communities that can afford to live farther from highways.
Mm-hmm.
So those are a few examples of environmental justice, and this
Yeah.
Earth Day is kind of focusing on, we're trying to have a feeling of activism involved in this Earth
Mhm.
Day.
Yeah.
Like I said, we're going to have a march and everything, and we're having this panel, and because we want to talk about why it's important to care about our environment, and not just environment as in trees and water and air.
Yeah.
That's important, but also the human elements of taking
Mhm.
care of people. People having healthy places to live, having healthy water,
Mm-hmm.
and being able to have the same opportunities and resources as those who are wealthy and able to afford them.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're trying to just promote and kind of bring the community together on this idea that we're all in this together,
Mhm.
and that if we want our voices to be heard, we need to stand together.
Yeah, and I think that is excellent. I can definitely see how that day is kind of moving that conversation. Like you said, we're
Mhm.
talking about environmental issues, we're teaching people how to compost, how to garden, but then and think about difference between maybe tap water and bottled water, but then also thinking about the justice part of it and how can we make sure that everybody has, like you said, equitable access to these resources and are not experiencing some of these unfair and unjust issues. So really promoting
Mhm.
equity across it.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and that is, I think that is excellent, especially as students, for the community, for everybody to be
Mhm.
involved and really, like you said, look out for each other,
Mhm.
and hopefully, these things can be prevented coming up in the future.
Exactly. We're all one people. We're all one human race. So we're
Mhm.
all in this together.
Okay. So, do you have any confirmed speakers for the panel yet coming up? Do you know who will be there?
No, actually. So we usually have keynote speakers, but we're
Mhm.
changing things a little bit this year.
Mhm.
We've been trying to get a variety of more interactive talks / activities.
Mhm.
Nothing's unfortunately confirmed yet, but we
Mhm.
will have something. It's going to be very interactive this year,
Mhm.
performance-wise and speaker-wise, if you
Mhm.
want to call it that.
Yeah.
So everything we're going to have is going to be something that students or anybody who's watching can be a part of.
Okay,
Mhm.
excellent. So I know you said that part of the panel conversation is also going to be about looking at the climate, the political climate for environmental justice issues and environmental issues.
Mhm.
Can you expand on that?
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not part of the team that's exactly
Mhm.
running it, but from what I've talked with them about, with the new presidential cabinet that's come in and the new appointment to the head of the EPA, there are concerns about where things are going to be going environmentally, and so that's kind of like the basis of how do we move forward from that if things change with the EPA or anything like that. But also locally, we want to, they want to talk about, there's been a lot of, I guess, hate kind of speech been going around just the last year through elections and stuff, pointing fingers at certain groups. Again, like I talked about marginalized groups, you can see that as women or people of color or anything like that. And so we want to try to analyze and dissect these feelings. We're not going to push anyone away. We want to create an area for discussion and to talk about these issues because they're important and they're real right now. Things are really kind of changing in our world and locally as well. And so we want to create that discussion. I know that my friend Robert, who's putting it on, is inviting quite a few panelists to be the keynote speakers, and they're experts in their fields, and then so people can ask them questions, and then together as a group kind of analyze solutions or how to heal or anything like that.
Yeah, that sounds like it's going to be a really great conversation, and looks like it's probably going to be leading towards some kind of action steps or follow-up for moving forward. And I think that that's an excellent opportunity to have a safe space, be able to have that conversation, and like you said, get a lot of these emotions feelings that are happening out there and be able to share and connect with people.
Exactly.
Yes. Okay, awesome. So in general, people believe in protecting and taking care of the environment. However, sometimes it's not so much a priority. And does that kind of come into play at why you organize Earth Day every day? Does that come into why ERC was created? How do you see that, and coming from your perspective in the field?
Yeah. So I think definitely with the ERC being developed was a way for students to help remind our fellow students not in environmental studies program that even though it is kind of hard to do everything right, it's like you can try to eat organically, but that's expensive.
Yeah.
You can try to support local businesses, but that can be expensive or hard. Maybe they're not nearby. Maybe you're close to Targets or in Costco and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You can try to do all these things, do it right, but it can be hard, especially when you're a student or you're struggling financially anyway. But we try to remind students that every little bit counts and that anything you do is really helpful. We remind students that if you can ride your bike once a week, that's great. Or if you can carpool with someone, that'll save you money in the long run, actually. Or changing to a reusable water bottle instead of buying plastic bottles that are actually pretty expensive.
Yeah.
So we try to serve as that kind of reminder, connection with students that we're students too, and we totally understand that things are hard.
Yeah.
But the earth is important, and to take care of environment, even by just taking small life changes, is really effective and really helpful.
Yes. Well, excellent. Well, thank you. So we're going to be right back. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and then we'll continue our conversation with Maya.
The different therapeutic methods that we can help our very low socioeconomic status clients who have no alternatives, no anything, and there's still about 15 different resources we got out of this, that if you have no resources, no service connection, you can still get aid.
That they are connected, one encourages the other, and that the process of change from backing off from the tobacco is the same as backing off from any other addictive drug.
Everyone can benefit from this training that we just were offered today. I would not take it back.
So thank you, and welcome back to Environmental Affairs with Breathe California. We were having a conversation here with Maya Briones from the ERC regarding Earth Day coming up, and talking about the conversation of environmental justice, and she was sharing opportunities and why the ERC was created and how to get students involved, even if it's a small step here or a small step there, to be environmentally friendly and have these habits in your day. So tell me, why should people care more about the environment, and why should they take more actions to it in general, whether you're a student, in any sense?
Yeah, I think people need to care about the environment because it's what we live in. The environment is literally everything surrounding us, and if we have an unhealthy environment, we ourselves are going to be unhealthy. And the earth is really amazing in the way that the nature kind of has this balance where everything gets reused or recycled and everything is used up and there's no waste. And human activity, unfortunately, has kind of altered that cycle. But really what we can do is live harmoniously with nature, with our surroundings, plants, animals, and try to minimize our impact as much as possible. It's important that people realize, like I said, that small changes do help. You don't have to do everything. You don't have to change your entire lifestyle. But it's important to recognize that if you can take small changes, it's really good for you too. It really usually ends up benefiting your health in some way, benefits others, and can save money over time. Just working towards a more efficient way of living, I think, is a good way to put it. Is really why it's important. And then ethically, it's important because, like I said, we're all in this together. We only have one earth, and then if we continue in the way that we've kind of lived in kind of a high waste, high consumption society, we won't be able to live like that for long, and then we'll hit kind of a brick wall. And then what do you do after that when resources are used up or the waste is so high that you don't know what to do with it or anything like that? So it's just important to kind of think to the future, and to ethically think like, okay, how do I want future generations to be able to live?
And really kind of have that mind frame and mindset in your mind as you're doing these things.
Yeah, and it's not easy. You know,
Yeah.
life gets in the way, and you get really caught up in your work or everything you have to do, and it's hard to think like, oh, I should probably do this or that. But it's just, like I said, small things. You know, no one has to go out and buy a Tesla and you know, drive the most efficient cars and everything. But every small bit counts.
And if you could share with our viewers maybe top 3 things that are simple, easy, that maybe don't even cost much or anything, that people can do at home in their daily routines, do at their work, something that can really be pretty easy that maybe they could even start today.
Yeah, something, I guess I could just give you things that I've done. You can time your showers, just 5 minutes. And collect the extra water. We're not in a drought right now, but during the drought, you could collect your water in a bucket and use it to water plants. Taking 5-minute showers really cuts down. Some people might be against this one, but I always suggest cutting out meat like once or twice a week in your diet. Just once, maybe once a week, not have any meat, just because that the agricultural industry has quite a bit of the impact on the pollution levels that we're facing. So if everyone stopped eating meat just once a week or twice a week, that would be, that would save you money too. Meat tends to be more expensive.
Like meatless Mondays, I've heard people have done that.
Meatless Mondays, exactly. And you could carpool once a week if you have, or find a way to work from home or some alternative form of transportation instead of going out and buying a new car or something. That cuts down on emissions, because the amount of cars that are on the road creates a lot of congestion with air pollutions. And so those are some easy things that people could start trying maybe today, or once a month or anything like that, just to try to see if it works in your schedule or anything like that.
Yeah, awesome. Okay. So we're saying try to have an alternative form of transportation, maybe once a week, carpool with somebody, maybe ride your bike or use some other kind of public transportation in some activity. Another one, you're saying trying to take meat out once or twice a week, and that can really cut down on the water that the agriculture business use a lot. And then also timing your showers. So timing your showers. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, excellent. Okay. And so if there was one message that you want our guests to take away today from the ERC, from your experience with environmental justice, what are some of those key takeaway messages you want our audience to take away?
I do want the audience to know that Earth Day is open to everyone, and we really want to invite the entire community to come out. It's a lot of fun. We have petting zoo, we have a tiny house that you can see. We're going to have music, dancers, food, some really cool organizations that you could sign up with or learn how to volunteer with to take other steps towards living more sustainably or having more environmental perspective. There's going to be a lot of cool things to do, so people of all ages can come. I really encourage the community to come because it's for the community. And then just remember that taking care of each other and making small steps towards change, no matter how small, is really important, and it doesn't go unnoticed. So I would like for people to know that the smallest change really does make a difference.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. So as how you're saying the smallest change can make a big difference, and then you're also saying Earth Day coming up. What are, and I know if some people are more interested in digging deeper into this project, you mentioned there's going to be organizations. So what kind of opportunities are people to get more involved in? Maybe they're not a student at San Jose State, or maybe they are going to try to practice these things that we talked about in their daily routines, but they also want to do something more. What can they do, or how can they get in contact, and what kind of organizations typically are going to be there at Earth Day?
So if anyone wants to get in contact with the Environmental Resource Center, you can email us. You can go, if you Google Environmental Resource Center, San Jose State, we have a web page. You can click on our pictures and you can email us. We're more than happy to point people in the right direction or see if they can help us out. If there are certain vendors people want to see, that's a perfect place to tell us. Hey, I know this group would be great at Earth Day. Shoot us an email, let us know. We'll definitely invite them. If they want to get involved with other things, I would recommend they come to Earth Day and see all the vendors we have. And if there's someone that stands out to them, to definitely reach out and ask, how can I get involved? How can I help out with this? We have so many we have right now 40 vendors that are going to be there, ranging from farms to restoration groups, like cleanup groups and volunteer groups for creeks or wildlife, open space. We're going to have, like I said, student projects that could lead into something else. There's going to be a lot of opportunities for the community to get involved in most of these groups are all very community based. Even volunteering hours at Vegilution or one of the other farms we have coming, I'm sure they would appreciate. So I'd recommend coming to Earth Day and checking it out, seeing who you might want to help or ask about how to get more involved.
Okay. And we're rounding out our show here a little bit towards the end, but I know you mentioned that there's an opportunity for restoration, and I understand that's something that you're really passionate about and you're interested about. Can you expand more what restoration is?
Yeah, so when I say restoration, I'm talking about usually wildlife habitat that's been either fragmented, destroyed because of human sprawl or the development of cities, or it could just be destroyed from invasive species, trash buildup, anything like that. So restoration works to restore these habitats to their natural state or how they should be without those things. Examples of this are pulling out invasive plants that may be suffocating the natural ecosystem in an area, or destroying nests for birds or any other kind of critters. So that's a form of restoration. Or there's cleaning up creeks. There's a lot of trash buildup in our creeks. We have 3 major creeks here in San Jose. We have the Guadalupe, Los Gatos, and Coyote Creek, and they all have quite a bit of trash buildup, and so that that suffocates the wildlife, and then creates poor water quality. And so to restore those is usually you can do trash pickup, so try to get the trash away from the creeks, and then you can test the quality of water over time to see if it's being restored. So anything that involves cleaning up or reconnecting habitat that's been destroyed, it counts as restoration.
Oh, wonderful. Well, thank you for expanding that and giving us a lot of information. This has been a really great experience to talk to you today, learn all about our local areas and how we can be involved. And as a takeaway, we definitely have Earth Day coming up at San Jose State on April 20th.
April 20th, 10 to 2:30.
10 to 2:30. And so thank you, Maya, for being here, and thank you to our viewers for watching our show today, and I hope you join us next time with Breathe California, the Bay Area Environmental Affairs. Have a great day.